It is important as children with disabilities and as girls to be able to talk. As children with disabilities, we know how we feel. That's why it is important for us to be heard.
When I got polio, I lost my friends. My parents left me while they worked on the farm. I was alone.
Girls with disability in my community who are not at school fall pregnant to men. The men deny responsibility. The girls are left to deal with this alone.
Sometimes when I am left alone at home or my friends leave me, I get bullied because I have polio and I am unable to run.
On my first day at school, I was not happy because I lived with a disability. I was alone. I was unable to walk. The other children left me alone and went out to play.
The toilet at my school is not disabled friendly. There are times when I go there, everything is messed up and dirty. I have to get out of my wheelchair and place my hands on the floor. It makes me unhappy and discouraged.
My older brother says to me, "Philip, go to school. If you become educated, other community members will realize that even though you have a disability, you can do something."
When I started school, the teachers called an assembly for all the pupils in the school and said, "This is a friend of yours. She's now one of the members of the school, so consider her one of your friends too. Don't be afraid of her. She's like you. Her condition is not a risk." So from then, they started playing with me. I started to become happy. I started having friends.
I think it is important with children with disability like the hearing impaired and vision impaired to go to school. That is why they should have training for teachers.
When I complete school, I want to be president. I will build houses for people with disabilities so they are not on the street. I will also build schools for them so they can become educated like me.
I want to be a nurse. I will treat people with disabilities and I will treat them for free.
I want to be a doctor. Once I am educated, I will return to my community and build clinics to treat people.
When I am a lawyer, I will encourage and support children with disabilities to get an education so they can look forward to their future.
Whether or not we have a disability, we are all human beings. We all have the same human rights.
Around the world, there are about 150 million orphans. 650,000 of these orphans live here in Nepal.
I was 7 when my parents died, and since then I've been taking care of my brother and sister.
13-year-old Nirmala Nepali remembers very little of her childhood. In fact, she has barely had one. Her parents died of AIDS when she was small, leaving Nirmala alone and in charge of her 2 younger siblings. Ever since, Nirmala has spent her life caring for her sister Sita, now 9, and her 8-year-old brother Suresh. To do so, she usually works from morning to night. Nirmala has never had the chance to spend a day in school herself. There is no time. She works too hard taking care of Sita and Suresh. Still, she dreams of an education.
If I could study, when I grow up, I would have a name. I would be someone. But there's so much work. Should I go to school or go to work? I mean, I need to get food. If I didn't provide food, we would all go hungry.
Hunger is a real danger to children in Nepal. Over half of the country's children are malnourished. Their bodies don't get enough vitamins and nutrients to grow properly. Children who have no parents to take care of them are the most at risk.
In order to ensure that the children are not malnourished, UNICEF provides nutrition support in the form of Unimix, which is a fortified flour that contains soy, corn, and wheat.
And UNICEF provides more than just good nutrition to children like Nirmala. Children who have to take care of themselves and their siblings need special protection and guidance. So UNICEF trains local women to give them the help they need. UNICEF also provides the family with school supplies so that Sita and Suresh have everything they need to go to school and learn. But Nirmala wants and deserves an education too.
Nirmala is a special kid. She's got so much potential. All she needs is to go to school, and she's dying to go to school. She needs protection, she needs health care, she needs nutritional support, and we need resources to ensure that children like Nirmala are not forgotten.
UNICEF is making a real difference in the lives of Nirmala and her brother and sister. But more support is needed if they're going to have good, healthy lives and reach their potential. When you trick-or-treat for UNICEF, you're bringing a brighter future to the kids who need it most.
You're watching UNICEF television. 9-month-old twins Devki and Rahul have been brought by their mother to the Nutrition Rehabilitation Center located in Kolaras, India. While Rahul is a normal weight and size for his age, his sister Devki weighs just over half of what she should as a result of malnutrition. According to doctors caring for her, Devki was deprived of sufficient food because she's a girl. Devki's mother denies giving her son preferential feeding over her daughter, but the difference between the two is clear.
I was told that Devki had a throat problem at the time of birth, which continued for 2 to 3 months. I never detected any throat problem with her. She's malnourished. She needs better care and attention because if she gets a respiratory infection or any other infection, it will be more of a problem for her.
When Devki was initially brought to the center just over 6 months ago, she was severely underweight, and doctors say she was just a week away from death. Experts believe this case exemplifies a far more widespread social problem in cities and villages, where in many cases, the birth of boys are celebrated, while the birth of girls often are at best tolerated and at worst dealt with harshly. In India, 30% of children are born with a low birth weight, and almost 50% of children will still be underweight by the age of 3. Malnutrition is the silent and deadly crisis afflicting these children. The causes of this debilitating condition vary from lack of access to healthy, sustaining food to gender discrimination. At this nutrition center, mothers are taught how to prepare healthy, high-calorie, high-protein foods, and are urged to take new recipes and cooking practices back with them to their villages. The twins arrive back in their home village with 2 health advisors who will monitor the baby's feeding regimen and progress every week. If Devki's condition deteriorates, she'll be taken back to the center for more direct care. This is Annalika Okafor reporting for UNICEF Television, Unite for Children.
Aquí en República Dominicana, ser mujer no tiene muchos privilegios.
ខ្ញុំគិតថាការដែលកើតមកជាក្មេងស្រីនៅក្នុងប្រទេសកម្ពុជានេះក្មេងស្រីគឺគេរំកានខ្លាំងមានសិទ្ធិគ្រប់គ្រាន់ក្នុងការបញ្ចេញមតិយោបល់
Even though things are not equal between men and women, I think just the presence of the feminist movement raises a consciousness that men and women should be treated equally.
还有说这妇女可以从事的工作相对来说也比较广了，做的事情也是这样子的哈。
Ça s'est un peu amélioré, au moins au niveau de la ville. Mais dans nos villages, tout au fond de nos villages, je vois que ce sont les mêmes conditions.
It has improved, but mildly, it takes baby steps towards change.
I have the same opportunities as a man.
Las niñas limpiamos, cocinamos y los varones
Un ejemplo, se van a trabajar, a estudiar, algo así.
Ici chez moi, les garçons font les mêmes travaux que les filles.
To me, men are very lazy, and women are very hardworking.
当然有了，反正现在也没有什么像以前的什么老传统啊，现在都男女比较平等嘛，也没有什么女的地位在家非得要高一级那样的，没有。
Even in the hospital, when a woman gives birth to a child, and it happens to be a baby girl, she's not happy. She's not happy because she knows that the husband will not be happy.
كانت زمان بس اليوم البنت قد حالها بتتعلم بتشتغل بتسافر بتروح بتعمل كل شيء
我肯定是想要女孩。为什么呀？因为女孩提醒妈妈呀。
If I'm gonna change the world, well, I'll be starting from myself first.
I'll say for 15 years in this country, let only women be the president. Let only women rule this country.
Cosas que yo cambiar en el mundo, hay tantas que no las sé decir, pero algo que yo cambiar en el mundo es como el uniforme de la escuela.
We should accept the women, we should not discriminate them, we should allow them to be leaders. We should allow them to have the same positions as men. They can do it.
Il est temps que la femme d'aujourd'hui prenne ses responsabilités, que la parité ne soit pas seulement un slogan, que la parité ne se limite pas aux listes électorales, mais que la parité puisse être effective dans la vie concrète, dans la vie courante de chaque jour.
You're watching UNICEF Television. Against the early morning chill, mothers and children across Zimbabwe start gathering at their local clinics, schools, marketplaces, or even under the trees. For the next 5 days, nearly 2 million of Zimbabwe's children under 5 years of age will take part in the National Child Health Days. As the country emerges from a total collapse of its health services, heightened by the absence of health workers and the unprecedented cholera outbreak, immunizing children against killer diseases like polio, measles, and boosting their immunity with vitamin A is crucial now than ever. Here in Mashingo, a district in southeast Zimbabwe, hundreds of mothers and children have gathered since early morning from nearby villages. In rural areas where 80% of the population reside, mobile outreach points like this are set up to make sure all children can have access to the vital health interventions. For this round of Child Health Days, UNICEF has received more than $3 million, the biggest amount since the agency helped the government launch the campaign in 2005. Since then, immunization coverage has increased from 50% to over 70%, and vitamin A supplementation from below 20% to 80%.
We cannot do it on ourselves, alone ourselves. Neither the city of Harare could do it on its own. Neither the ministry could do it on its own. We need partners. Partners like UNICEF, WHO, the International Council of Red Cross, the Helen Keller, and other partners who are interested in the welfare and health of the children.
At this clinic in Harare, the capital, a mass turnout of mothers wait patiently to have their children immunized.
I was informed by the lady next door about this immunization campaign, so I have come with my child to have her immunized against polio. I am very happy because it did not take too long for me to be served.
Just a year ago, most health workers around the country were not reporting for duty because of poor compensation. But today they are mobilized, back at work for the success of this national health drive, thanks to the donors and partners who put the health of Zimbabwe's children first and foremost. In Harare, Zimbabwe, this is Kunle reporting for UNICEF Television. Unite for children.
Ok, où est-ce que vous avez dormi cette nuit?
So much of the infrastructure that we would have had at our fingertips and holding hands with us and us in support of them are not there. That's kind of disconcerting. It's not worrying because I think UNICEF will find a way, as we always do in these circumstances, to get around it and to do what's best in terms of protecting children. We're also very, very concerned about the shelter situation for children who may be find themselves abandoned and on the street without homes. The basic needs of all children are of great concern to us. We're also concerned about the psychosocial situation of children. How are children coping with the trauma, both of their own potential loss or injury and what has happened to their family and to their country and to every bit of security that they know. It's a frightening situation in a way in Haiti right now where we have so little information from the ground.
The lack of water, the lack of sanitation or the breakdown of sanitation services, there's a huge risk of communicable diseases such as diarrhea and measles. And this could cause large amount of illness as well as deaths among women and children in particular.
You're watching UNICEF Television. It's a long, hot journey through the desert to get to the nearest market for villagers in Chad's northwestern Kanem region. Changing weather patterns here have led to severe droughts, crippling local agriculture and causing chronic food shortages, according to local assessments. The 2009 harvest was a disaster, yielding only enough grain to feed the region for 2 weeks. Severe food shortages combined with unbalanced diets and poor childcare practices have led to soaring malnutrition rates in Kanem. Adam Abdullahi, just over a year old, was in a critical condition when he was brought into this UNICEF-supported therapeutic feeding centre in the district hospital of Mao. Here he's receiving emergency care and is fed milk every 3 hours while being closely watched by health workers. A week after arriving at the centre, Adam's health is steadily improving. His mother spoke of eating just porridge made from millet every day during her pregnancy, leaving her weak after the birth and unable to care for her son properly. Adam's mother and grandmother stay with him at the feeding centre day and night.
For the last 10 years, all of our hard work in our fields has produced nothing because there's been little rain, so we have to buy maize from the market.
There are more than a dozen children admitted at this centre where emergency therapeutic feeding takes place every day.
The severely malnourished children with secondary infections are referred to this center. Those that don't respond to treatment are also referred to this center. If this center did not exist, the situation would be catastrophic for the district of Mao.
Over 8,000 children have been treated at these centres since 2009, but the needs are still huge.
Unprecedented impact of lack of rainfalls has accelerated vulnerability and malnutrition rates.
Tackling malnutrition in remote areas is key here. In the village of Bara, 20 kilometres from Mao, a UNICEF-supported clinic provides monitoring and treatment for severely malnourished children. There's been a 25% increase in the number of children brought in between January and February 2010. Zara Hassan comes here every week with her malnourished 2-year-old to receive supplies of plum peanut, a high-protein, high-energy peanut paste, fortified with vitamins and minerals. The child is 3 kilos underweight and showing signs of improvement.
Nothing grows here. This hand has taken over and there is nothing left. The soil has gone and the land is now covered with sand.
The only patch of land left for farming is the oasis. With virtually no local produce on the market, most food items are transported into Mao from other parts of the country, leading to huge price increases and leaving thousands unable to feed their families and dependent on food aid. This is Salma Zulfikar reporting for UNICEF Television. Unite for Children.
You are watching UNICEF Television. On a fault line of Kosovo's ethnic divide, a community displaced by conflict is getting ready to move. This is Chesmin Lug, a ramshackle cluster of wooden beams and sheets of steel, inhabited entirely by ethnic Roma. It is a dangerous place to call home. Decades of mining and industry have left the area heavily contaminated with lead. Many children show alarmingly high lead levels in their blood. But these residents say there's nowhere else to go. Sadeta Gashijan once lived here. Like many Roma living in the northern Kosovo town of Mitrovica, she lost her original home to the flames of ethnic violence 8 years ago. Her family first fled to Albania, then to Montenegro. A few years later, they came back to live on a tiny plot directly beneath an electricity pylon.
It was not comfortable there. When it rained, it would leak, and we'd have to go out of the house and stay in my uncle's place until the rain stopped.
A few hundred meters away from Chesmin Lug, about 300 Roma live in a better organized community named Osterode. Though conditions here are not ideal, its paved streets and sturdier buildings offer a healthier and more structured environment for these families. Lydia Naziri lives here with her father and 3 younger brothers and sisters. She is only 9, but has already come close to getting married. Her father sent her to stay with an arranged fiancé's family until police and social workers intervened to break the engagement. While Lydia was unusually young, it is common in Romani communities for girls to be wed in their early teens. Lydia doesn't go to primary school, but she does take part in special catch-up classes for children in Osterode. She hopes her father won't try to send her off again to be married.
It's better like this, to go to school, to read, to sing, to go every day to school, to play. It's better like this.
According to UNICEF, the Romani are the most vulnerable ethnic group in Kosovo. In the aftermath of the violence of 1999, most were driven from their homes, as they were viewed as collaborators with armed groups who had perpetrated violence during the conflict. The majority settled in makeshift camps on the northern, predominantly Serb side of Mitrovica. Job opportunities are limited, and few children remain in school.
And it's very difficult to get role models for Roma children when many of their parents have not gone to school. Many of the fathers and mothers are illiterate. Many of them do not see hope for the future. They don't know where they'll be. They don't know the political situation as it will unfold. They don't know if they're going to get a job eventually and whether that educational training actually prepares them for something that they can make a living.
UNICEF is working to encourage Roma families to keep their children in class. It supports out-of-school and cultural activities, homework support, and Roma language classes. It also works with local authorities to create conditions for all Roma children to attend regular school in both sides of Mitrovica. UNICEF also supports an effort to return Roma families to their traditional neighborhood on the southern side of Mitrovica. With the help of UN organizations and other donors, dozens of new homes have sprouted on the ruins of Roma Mahala, once one of the largest Roma communities in the Balkans. But the process has been slow. Many Roma are reluctant to return, fearing further reprisals, or uncomfortable with living far from their jobs in the north. Sadeta and her family are among those who have come back to Roma Mahala. They live in a 3-story house built on the site of the home that burned. No one in the family holds a steady job. Sadeta is taking vocational business classes and dreams of one day opening a shop with her father. She is one of few girls her age who is not married. She says she has other priorities.
I want to find a good job, but I also dream that my brothers and sisters can get an education.
A hope that the young generation of Roma can overcome the past to build new opportunities and a new sense of identity in Kosovo. In Mitrovica, in the UN-administered province of Kosovo, this is Steve Nettleton reporting for UNICEF Television. Unite for Children.
For children living in poverty in the developing world, life is already fragile. Their situation is precarious. Their first and last refuge is family. But some events can push even families to the brink. At times like these, HIV and AIDS can make children in impoverished families even more vulnerable. The virus compounds poverty by diverting already scarce resources, including money and time, to special medical needs. And it destabilizes lives. Families often grow isolated as HIV-related stigma cuts them off from access to basic protection and services. If an adult with AIDS becomes too ill to work, the children may have to take care of the sick family member and take on adult responsibilities. That puts children's health, education and safety at risk. Child-sensitive social protection uses a range of resources to support families and children. It creates a buffer against shocks and can lift children out of poverty. Social protection can offer social transfers, such as cash infusions that put resources directly into the hands of those in great need. Social services, including healthcare and education, that might have been inaccessible because of poverty and stigma. And policies and laws designed to be child-sensitive and AIDS-inclusive. Social protection shelters children and families, supported by their communities, governments, and ultimately the world. Make a stronger, long-lasting commitment to social protection that specifically includes children and their families.
Yes.